Hey everyone, welcome back to this episode of Screen Time, where I'm going to discuss what I watched in the month of September. So it wasn't the biggest month for me. I did have a few days where I was like, I don't really want to watch anything. Also, I've started watching more TV. Been watching 911, Agatha All Along, and I think that's it. I think there's maybe some other TV shows that I started but didn't finish. Oh, and Monsters. I've started watching that with the Ryan Murphy TV show. So yeah, all right. So on the 1st of September, I watched The Crow. Pretty much, I thought that this one was just boring, waste of time, cringe. There was so many times where they were trying to convince us that they were so in love and that he would turn into the Crow because how much they were in love. But it was just cringe. It was gross. Yuck. And then it was like trying to convince us that they're so in love by showing them just like hook up and get high. No, that's not how it works. And then I watched the Blink Twice movie for the second time. This one was a rewatch, but I watched that movie. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really interesting, really cool. The pacing was really well done. And the ending is just like one of my most favorite endings I've seen in the last couple months for films. Like how she just girl bosses her way to winning money. I was like, yeah, put that man to sleep so you can get rich. So that was really cool. And then I watched Afraid, a horror movie. I wouldn't even call it horror, maybe suspense movie from Blumhouse, I'm pretty sure, about the AI. It was not good. It didn't have a vision. The acting was so bad, like surprisingly bad for the caliber of talent that they had attached to this project. It was just like they were there reading lines. They were there for the money, and it was very apparent. But yeah, so the script itself didn't have a vision. It was just, ooh, AI attacking us, AI bad. And then in the end, they were like, actually, AI pretty sick, give us Tesla. So there's that. That was really lit. I didn't like it. It was really funny though, how bad it was. So like, it was a good shit watch. And then I watched The Book of Life. That one was, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to watch all of a certain actor's work. So right now I'm doing Channing Tatum. It's been going on for a couple months because a lot of his work is just like cameos and other things like that. So, but for Book of Life, he's like a lead. So yippee. Won't last long, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. The art style was really nice. Everyone did a really good job. The ending with these kids' films is pretty predictable, but it's a solid animated film. All right, so on the 4th, I watched The Deliverance, a new horror film on Netflix. I did not like this one. I thought it was so boring, so anticlimactic through the whole thing. I was expecting this like really cool suspenseful slasher where the house, like, there's a ghost, satanic stuff, but instead it's like, church, be nice to your family, or your house will, eat you alive. But throughout the whole thing, it didn't show enough of the house eating them alive. It was just kind of like a family drama with a little bit of spiritual horror. Don't know, that's a satanic horror. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, so it wasn't the best time, but it was a thing. So on the 5th, I watched Public Enemies. That one was also for Channing Tatum. Little did I know that Channing Tatum was going to be dead by like the 5-minute mark. I was like, oh, sick. So I tried watching all of it. I think I definitely did get through all of it, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because it was just like 2 hours of these two guys doing some ridiculous accents and brooding about how the other one's bad and the other one and they're good. And then some shooting and some other things. So like, it was just like, it was an enjoyable watch. Was it? Look, it was a watch. It was a watch. It was fine. Disappointing to see that Channing Tatum was dead by the end of it. I wanted At least have him die in the middle. I don't care that his character was meant to die in the beginning. If you're hiring Channing Tatum, make him die at least in the middle. Next, I watched Beetlejuice or Beetlejuice 2. Overall, didn't really enjoy this one. It was fine. It was a watch. It was definitely not as bad as some of the bad films I've watched, but at least with the bad films, they were kind of enjoyable. This one had just a really off-putting vibe and made me want to leave the theater because of the dad. His presence in the film is just really gross since of all the allegations and stuff that he's done. And the fact that Beetlejuice has just been stalking Winona Ryder's character for 30 years since she was a child was a bit weird. So I didn't really like that. And then I watched Strange Darling. Loved it. It was such a good watch. It's so well crafted from pacing, the editing, the script, the acting. It's just phenomenal. How you go from thinking this woman is in a bad situation, but then you slowly find out that she manipulated it to be that bad situation, and she was just going to use her perceptions of her gender to her advantage. And then the man just felt trapped, but it was very nuanced. It was is she in the right or is she in the wrong? Is he in the right? Is he in the wrong? It's just, it was a good watch. It was suspenseful. It was stabby, which I love. But yeah, and then on the 9th, I watched Foxcatcher again for Channing Tatum. He had a chin job. I don't know. I reckon they put something in his mouth to make his jaw accentuate forward to make him look more like an ape, which they can. But it doesn't take away from how attractive he is, so that's really awesome. Overall, for the film, though, it was just a bit awkward. Those films that it's just what is going on? It's so awkward when anyone speaks or interacts with anything. And it was just kind of boring until the last 3 minutes. So that was that. Just kind of nothingness, but Channing Tatum did a good job, and I watched another Channing Tatum film, so mission accomplished. Alright, so next on the 10th, I watched The Wild Robot. I went to the Brisbane premiere thanks to my friends. They invited me, so that was really cute and nice. But yeah, no, it was a really solid film. It was so visually pleasing. The acting was really well, the voice acting was great, the pacing was really good. It was just a solid animated movie from DreamWorks. Unlike some of their more recent stuff, it was actually enjoyable. It wasn't just basic bad guy, good guy, defeats bad guy, end. No one cares, And then next I watched on the 11th, I watched Dear John. Because of Channing Tatum, as we all know. And I didn't like this one. I have one of my friends is how dare you give this movie a 2-star or whatever I gave it. And I was it uses montages as a form of storytelling. And that's just pointless. Why would, if you don't have enough story to tell a feature-length film, then don't fill in the gaps with montages. Have your characters interact with people around them or with each other longer to tell that story. Concept of time doesn't have to be shown through montages. And there was just far too many in this film. It just felt like a PowerPoint presentation about someone who's died. Something I'd see at a funeral. And then after that, on the 12th, I watched Speak No Evil. So this one was just really boring for the first hour. I was where is this going? I know where it was going because I've seen the trailer, because the trailer kind of spoils everything, as they do nowadays. But everyone's acting other than James was below average. But James was it was good, but it was also just super orkies. And he was super on the nose about everything. If he got fucking annoyed, he'd be Like his mouth would fucking have a field day. And it was just like not necessary. But then the last 30 minutes was actually really interesting, really good, slasher, you know, it was really enjoyable and everyone did a really great job for that 30 minutes. But other than that, it was just like, we're at a random house and the guests are kind of weird. So, yeah, there's that. And then on the 14th, I watched Transformers 1. What do I say about this one? Look, the animation style wasn't that great, but everything else to do with it was pretty good. Their voice acting from Chris and Black Widow. Oh, what's her name? She's in the new Jurassic World films that is filming right now. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. I got there in the end, guys. She does a good job. Like, everyone does a really good job, but the animation style just lets it down a bit. It just kind of meshes all together. I feel like if it was more experimental with the animation style, like the Wild Robot, it could still stay in the cyber sphere, but more experimental to have a distinct difference between what's going on in the foreground and the background would have been really interesting. But yeah, everything else, the script and the acting and whatever, was really well done and it was a solid film, surprisingly, because Transformers Beast Wars or whatever the fuck it was not that. So, you know, we love improvement. And then on the 15th, I watched Rebel Ridge. It was way too long for what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a short hour-and-a-half film about a guy taking revenge. That's what I thought it was. That's what the ad campaign led me to believe. But unfortunately, it was too long. The main people were just talking for most of it. And by the time it got to the good stuff, I kind of just like lost interest. I didn't really care. But the main guy who acted in it, I'll put his face up and his name. He was good. So he'll be a good Green Lantern if that ever does happen. And then after Rebel Ridge, I watched Step Up 1. I had to buy this one on Apple TV because it's on no streaming service currently in Australia. So that's really awesome. Love that for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was just like a good solid dance kind of drama that was steamy and the people in it were hot and they could act somewhat. So that was a plus. But sadly, unfortunately, I went to number 2 after. I was like, sick, that was fun. Let's watch number 2. It was on a streaming service, so I didn't have to pay. And I got to watch number 2. Moose, best character ever, love him. But everyone else could not act to save their life. Not the main guy, not the main girl, not the other people. Its only redemption arc is Moose and water dancing. But the water dancing is like not even that good, and in that competition would not have won. So 1, probably would have been disqualified, and 2, like compared to what they did inside the shipping container area or the factory, it was like basic. They were just like rolling around in the water and like making some splashes. But yeah, and then also in the first one, Channing Tatum never took off his shirt. I'm pretty sure he never took off his shirt. And he was still just like the hottest guy around. This new guy, 1, couldn't act, and 2, took off his shirt in the first 2 seconds. So any of the kind of, you know, suspense we had for like, oh my God, let's see what's underneath his shirt, like we had for Channing Tatum in the first one, was lost. We saw what he was going on and it wasn't good. It was ugly. It was not hot. And I know him from Aliens in the Attic. So his forehead was like mine. It was too fucking big. So yeah. And then we watched White House Down on the 16th for Channing Tatum. Obviously, I was like, ew, I cannot watch another Step Up 1 because I again had to pay for it and I didn't really feel like paying for Step Up 3. So I didn't. I went back to Channing Tatum's filmography and chose White House Down because he was the lead in this one. So I wouldn't have another Public Enemies. Yippee. But it was very interesting to see 1, Joey King, and 2, just like another Channing Tatum film where he is good with kids and he saves the day. So, can we say he was typecast in the early 2000s? Yup. But it was overall, the film was very kind of lackluster. Joey King was annoying. The bad guys were just bad guys, and the fake bad guys were just fake bad guys. And then the whole pacing of it was just meh. It was just like step by step. White House takeover, step by step, save the day. There wasn't anything interesting said. There was nothing interesting shown. Everything was just the bare bones of it. So yeah, that was that. And then we watched 57 Seconds with Josh Hutchinson's. He was the main reason why I watched it. I saw it on Prime Video and I was like, hey Josh, let's see that. And it was solid. It was a direct-to-DVD, definitely. It had those vibes. It had the vibes of straight to streaming, and that's what it was. Morgan Freeman phones it in massively. He's giving nothing. And legit, the whole film was giving nothing. But Josh does a good job. So there's some redeeming things about it. Overall, though, it's a waste of time. And then on the 22nd, I watched Wizard of Oz. Love it. Leading up to Wicked, wanted to rewatch it again. So I did. And it holds a dear place in my heart. Yeah, I love this movie. It's such a comfort movie for me that I don't watch too often, but every time I do watch it, I just have a good time. The pacing's excellent, acting's excellent, the visuals, the color grading, it's like candy colored. It just evokes such a childlike nature in you, and it's so good. But yeah, and then after that, I rewatched Substance. So at Sydney Film Festival, I watched Substance on the closing night. Wild experience. Everyone was like vomiting and fainting. I went to the bathroom afterwards, and this guy was like, yeah, I only made it 20 minutes in, and then I woke up 20 minutes ago. I was like, oh, sick. But I rewatched it with my friends because I was like, you have to see it. It's so good. And they were like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, don't you understand? It's like a metaphor for like stuff. But no, I really enjoyed this movie. It's so camp. It's so like outlandish. The cinematography is incredible. The gore levels are just wild. It's so gory. I was like, for the first time watching it, I had to like look up above like slightly above the screen, so I wouldn't faint, because at that State Theatre in Sydney, you were crammed in on the dress circle. You were not given leg room unless you were on the bottom floor. You were like, whoa. Yeah, especially if there were two grown-ass men beside you who thought that their leg room was more important than yours. You were given nothing. Next up is on the 23rd, I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, mainly because I just started rewatching 911. So Maddie in there is played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt is in this one, but what I didn't know is that two of the Scooby-Doo actors is in this, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm proud of myself that I just off the bat remember their names. But yeah, no, those three of them did pretty well. The other guy that didn't amount to anything was boring. And the ending, oh, what a waste of an ending. It was just so boring. I didn't care about who he was. I didn't understand what connection he had to anyone. It was just like, meh. I wanted one of them to do it, like Scream. But also, side note, I'm glad I watched it because now I understand the Scary Movie reference. I was like, because I watched Scary Movie before Scream, so I saw all that, but I was always just like, what was that balcony scene? And I figured it out, so that was fun. And then on the 24th, I watched Thelma, a kind of movie about an old person getting back her money after getting scammed. It's definitely an old person movie. It's for the elder generation. I went to a screening with my mum of it, and there was just non-stop old people there. One person didn't really understand the concept of inside voices, so she was like yelling. She was like, I love these seats. And my mum looked over, and then she was like, oh, this is so funny. She was like, She was like, oh, that woman gave me a glare. God, thought she was going to kill me. Let's move over there. What is going on? Shush, let's maybe shut the fuck up. Watch the movie. But yeah, so I watched that one. It was okay. Everyone did a really good job at acting. But it was just like, it's kind of like not my cup of tea, but it's good that I watched it because, you know, letterbox stats and whatnot. And then after that, I watched A Boy, a Girl, a Dream. I watched it on Tubi, so that could kind of explain to you what kind of caliber of film this is. But yeah, it's definitely a bad movie, and it's not even an enjoyable bad one. It's just bad. It had too many lens flares and too much political kind of commentary, but it didn't say anything about what it was trying to say. Everyone was like, oh, fuck Trump. But they were like, there was no reasons given. There was like nothing going on. Nothing interesting was being said pretty much for the good side or the bad side of whatever they were trying to say. And then this whole love story of them like falling madly in love for one night was just boring. I was like, these people are so awkward. And they were trying this thing with the one take, but it was just like, let's maybe not. Let's maybe just cut here and start another take. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe some dialogue can be fixed. People can be less awkward, that kind of thing. And then on the 26th, I watched Strangers Part 1. Honestly, this kind of slapped. It was good. It was better than The Watchers. So that's good. But yeah, no, it was solid. It was like good acting, good pacing. The scares were kind of good. Whoa. And I will be watching Part 2 if it comes out, because I doubt it will, because it flopped very hard. But apparently it is. Apparently there's a chapter 3. I don't know if it's already filmed. Let me know if it is. And let me know if you enjoyed it, and we'll be watching chapter 2. And then on the 30th, final film, I watched Apartment 7A. It kind of has a lot of the same issues as a lot of other prequels do. You kind of know where this is going because you've seen the other movie, but once you move past all of that, it's an enjoyable watch. It's a fun time. She is a good actress. I forget who it is, but I watched her in the Royal Hotel or whatever, and she was good in that. So yeah, pretty good. She has an incredible face card. I don't know what it is, but anything where her face is just there is just like, holy fuck, stunning. But yeah, so I think it's like Kitty. Anyways, but yeah, no, that was my watch list for September. Anything that I talked about here that you have a different opinion about, leave in the comments below and let me know what you guys watched during the month of September. I'll be doing it again next month, and it is spooky season now, so one Halloween movie, hopefully a day, or at least scary, kind of spooky, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so like and subscribe for that one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!